चल रहा है, recording start. So we were at in the previous class we have discussed the various types of motion control system, that is the point to point positioning system and the contouring or the continuous path control system. Now we have the motion control systems, and the motion control systems we have the interpolation method, that how the continuous movement or how the complex shapes or the non-linear shapes or the smooth machining has been done with the in the industry. So interpolation is basically the important aspects in the case of the continuous or the contouring path motion. So what is interpolation? So you can see, I will explain you in the figure also. From the figure you can see this is an circular machining. Whenever you want to perform the circular machining or circular, you want to move your tool at the circular path, then that circular path is being divided into some smaller segments of the line segments. So whenever you want to move the non-linear shapes or the circular shapes or the parabolic shape or the helical shape, you will divide that. You have to divide that circular or the parabolic or the hyperbolic shape into the straight line segments. So you can see here. So this is basically the whenever you want to draw this and whenever to cut that specimen in the circular shape, or you have the tool, your tool has the path of the circular shape. So you can see here, this is the, we have cut this circular part into three line segments. So one is this line segment, second is this, and third is this. Your tool will move from one point to this point, so from this point B to point C point, then C to D point. So this is the upper limit and the outer limit and the inside limit. So outside and by considering the inside and outside limit, will perform that particular operation in the non-complex or the non-linear shapes. So in the case of the fundamental problem in generating these shapes, that NC equipments are basically continuous and NC are basically the digital ones. So to cut any circular path or the circular path or the non-linear shapes, we will divide that circle into the series of the straight line segments. So that approximate the situation of the curve, that approximate the position of the tool. So that tool is being commanded to machine each line segment in succession so that the machine surface closely matches the desired shape. So you can see here that we have divided that close or the circular shape into the three segments or the three line segments. Whenever the tool is being uh, used to perform that operation on the continuous path in the circular portion or in the non-linear portion. So we have to divide that total position of the tool or total path of the tool. Let us say that path is from A to B. That part is point is A and this point is B. The tool has to start its machining from point A to B. So we have divided the circular portion into three line segments. So you can see whenever firstly the tool will move from that inside tolerance to that point of the outside tolerance, then from that point 2 to point 3, and then again from point 3 to 4. So similarly you can see this is the, in the B case we have outside tolerance and the inside tolerance. Whenever this is an inside tolerance, outside tolerance, we are considering the tool path towards the outside of the tolerance, and again we are moving and touching that tool with the, and we are basically dividing that our tool cannot move in the complex path or in the continuous path or in the circular path or in the helical path. So to perform that operation, we have divided that contouring part into some line segments. I'm again coming back into this figure, into this contouring motion or in the circular continuous motion. You can see in this figure in the previous slide that whenever you have these kind of complex path of the tool and tool has to perform that particular operation in the complex shapes, so we need some interpolation. So that what is the interpolation here? You can see we have divided this complex shape or the complex path of the tool into the different kinds of segments. So you can see this is a straight cut. Here we have divided this portion into straight cut. So here we have a line segment or line interpolation. Here we have the back to state, that is again here we have the linear or the line interpolation. Here we have the circular interpolation. So whenever there is a circle in the path of the tool, we have to divide the circular interpolation into the with the help of the line segments, and we have to move that circular portion, and by dividing that circular portion into the with the line segments by considering the inside as well as the outside tolerances. So you can see from this figure A, B, C also, in some cases in the more complex shapes, whenever our tool is moving the inside of that circular portion, then we have to consider the inside tolerance. And whenever our tool is moving in the straight line outside that path of the tool where the curve has to be drawn, that is called the outside tolerance. And uh, whenever our straight line you can see is moving from inside to outside tolerance, so here we have considered the both kind of tolerances, that is the inside tolerance limit as well as the outside tolerance limit. So the tool is moving here from, in the figure C, you can see the tool is moving from inside tolerance to the outside tolerance as well as. Whereas in the case of the figure A, you can see only the tool is moving from the uh, inside tolerance, that is from that where the path is to be drawn, and that dotted line is showing the axis of the tool where the tool is moving. Because in the previous case I have told, the previous class also I have told, you can see in the motion control system, that is slide number 10, that there is some tool offset. But why this tool offset or the tool cutter diameter offset is being considered? Because if you will not consider the radius of the tool, then that specimen may be cut short, that it will be in the smaller size whenever you are getting the tool. And you have to consider the axis of the tool equal to the radius of that tool, and you have to offset the axis of the tool. And if the axis of the tool matches the outer edge of the specimen, then that specimen will be shorter in length, shorter in dimensions as compared to the desired one. So you have to consider the tool path is equal to the uh, radius of that tool to the offset from where the operation is to be performed. So these are the basically the outer axis of the outer dimensions of the specimens. You have to consider the offset of axis at a distance, offset at a distance equal to the radius of the tool. So similarly, this dotted line is being showing the path of the tool from where the operation is to be performed. So whenever you are considering the tool path below that circular portion, you are considering the inside tolerance. And whenever you are considering that dotted line or the axis of the tool above that path or above that actual curve, where the actual curve is to be cut or to be drawn using the tool, then it is called the outside tolerance. Here the tool is on the upper side of the actual curve. So from that tool, you are using that circular interpolation, you are drawing that straight lines and completing that figure. That is, our tool cannot move in the circular portion. Here also in the figure, this motion control system, we have shown that this is a complex figure, and there are some linear interpolation, there are some circular interpolation also. So for drawing that circular interpolation, for moving the tool in the circular portion, we have to cut that circular portion into some line segments using this interpolation methods. Okay. So in the first case, I am again coming back to this slide number 13. So this is whenever your tool is below that actual curve, that is called the inside tolerance. Whenever your tool is above that actual curve, then it is called the outside tolerance. And whenever the tool has to be move in the have to consider the inside as well as the outside tolerance as in the shown in the figure C. Then the tool has to cut that in the straight line. Have to, in the case of the inside and outside tolerance, you can see we have divided that actual curve into three line segments. This is the first line segment, first line, second line, and third line. Again, in the for the outside tolerance, we have first line, second line, and the third line. Whereas in the case of the inside, whenever we are considering the inside and outside tolerance, you can complete that total actual curve with the two line segment also as shown in the figure 2. So you can see here the tool is being moving from the inside tolerance to the outside tolerance, and again from the outside tolerance to the inside tolerance. That is, these straight line segments are approximations to the actual curve. And again we are dividing that segments, and we can also divide that line segment to a smaller portion. We can also draw that actual curve with the help of this 5 line segments, 7 line segments, so that our curve will be a circular one. We cannot construct a circular portion or a complex non-linear shapes with the help of a simple circular interpolation. We have to cut that portion or the cut that portion of the tool path into the some line segment so that that complex shape can be moved. So coming on to the different types of the interpolations, we have some linear interpolation, circular interpolation, helical, parabolic, and cubic interpolation. So basically in the industry, there are basically two types of interpolations are being implemented. First one are the linear and the second are the circular interpolation. Whenever there will be more complex shapes, we will always consider helical, parabolic, or the cubic interpolations in the while in the manufacturing any component. So this is first case. You can see that we have the in the figure A we have this uh, linear interpolation. Whenever you are moving from point in the you can see in the first figure, that figure A, we are having a right angle triangle. We have to move uh, from the point in the hypotenuse side. So this is called the linear interpolation. Whereas from the figure B, you can see there we want to draw that semicircle type of shape. So we have to divide that segment into the we have to divide the circular interpolation into the line segment type. So we have divided that circular portion in the figure B in the five line segments. You can see there are basically five lines, one, two, three, four and five lines. So these are 5 points considering the four line segments, and we have divided that line segment to the four in circular shape into the four line segments. And whenever your tool will move this four line segment, your and changing the path continuously from point 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. These all being instructions are being feed up in the case of the program of instructions in the form of programs in the MCU, and the tool is getting all types of instructions. That is, it has to move in the this path from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5, so on. And we can also divide that interpolation into the line segment into 7 sections, into 3 sections. Whenever you want to have a clear actual curve, how many, if you can increase that line segments, you can increase the accuracy of your curve. But if you have lesser number of line segments, then your accuracy will be less. That is, here we are having 4 line segments, that is accuracy is very less, very more. तो यहाँ पे हमारे क्या हो रहा है कि हमने लाइन सेगमेंट्स की हेल्प से हमने सर्कुलर पोर्शन को ड्रॉ कर लिया. Similarly, in the case of the last section, you can see we have divided that whole circle into the quadrants. That is, we cannot draw full circle with the help of the tool, so we have divided that circle in the form of the circular interpolation. So we will first divide a one quadrant, then we'll construct that again. We'll give the instruction to the tool for the next quadrant, then again the third quadrant, then again the fourth quadrant. In this way, we'll complete the drill operation, or in this way we can complete that turning operation, or the any kind of operation in which the circular path of the tool is to be the tool has to move in the circular path. So we have divided the circular path, that is of 360-degree angle, into the each of 90-degree quadrants, so that the tool can move from the one point to the other and other to the next point. And all these instructions are being fed in the form of the programs in the MCU, so that tool cannot have any disruption in the while in the manufacturing. So these are the some kinds of interpolation methods, so due to through which we are performing the operations in the complex shapes, in the non-linear shapes. So first one was the straight, second one was the circular, and last one was the again the type of the hyperbolic, or you can see the circular interpolation, where we are completing the full circle by dividing that full circle into the segments of in the form of the quadrants. And in the B figure, we have divided that semicircle with the help of the smaller line segments. Next is the we have absolute and incremental positioning system, that always depends upon that these absolute and incremental positioning system depends upon that the coordinate systems from the position of the tool, that is the coordinate system from where it is taking the coordinate system, whether your origin is fixed or whether your position origin is moving from one point to the other point. So in the absolute positioning system, basically the work head locations are always defined with respect to the origin of the axis system, whereas in the incremental system we have to assume that the previous position is always as considered as the origin for the next point of the tool to perform that particular operations. So you can consider this figure to have the difference in between these two. So in this figure, you can see that if you are considering the point A and point B, let us say this point A is having the coordinate system of 20, 20 and B is having 40 by 50. So whenever your tool has to move from one point to other point as to perform the operation at point 20, 20 coordinate system, that is X and Y, X is 20 here, Y is also 20 here, and the next position of the tool is 40 to 50. Whenever you are mirroring that coordinate system, that is whenever you are mirroring the defining the position of that particular point A and B with respect to this origin 0, that here the origin is fixed. Whenever you are defining this the coordinate system of both these points with respect to that origin, then it is called a absolute coordinate system. In the case of absolute coordinate system, the coordinate of the origin remains constant. The origin remains same throughout all the position of the tool. That is, if the tool has to perform the operation here also. So this is the point is here 40 by 20, 40 comma 20. This is 40 is x-axis. The value of x is 40 here at this point at the corner of these two uh, axis, and the value of the y is 20 here. The 40 by 20 you have to perform, the tool has to perform the operation here. Then that 40 by 20 is being measured with respect to this 0 origin, that is a fixed origin. So in the case of the absolute coordinate system, our origin is single origin and it is fixed, always fixed. The all position of the tools are being measured with respect to this fixed origin. Whereas in the case of the whereas in the case of the incremental coordinate system, so you can see here this is the origin in the case of the absolute coordinate system. So all these points, that is the C point, this A point, this B point, all the coordinate system are being measured from the single origin point, that is 0 comma 0. Whereas for the incremental coordinate system, whenever the tool, let us say the tool has to move from this point to this point A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So let us say the tool has to perform this seven uh, has to perform the operation at the 7 points. So all these points have the floating coordinate system or the floating origin. So whenever we have to define the position of the tool here, we'll consider this as the origin. That, and again, when the tool has to move from this point A to, let us say this point is B. Whenever the tool has to move from point A to B, that the coordinate of the point B are being measured with respect to the previous point where the tool has performed the already has performed the operation. So that previous point will be considered as the origin for the next point. Similarly, when the tool has to move to point C, then that B point will become the origin for point C. Then again, whenever the tool has to move from point B to C to D and has to perform the operation at point D, then C point will become the origin for the point D. That is, the previous point where the tool has already performed the operation will become the origin for the next point. That is, the tool has to, or our program has the set of instructions that the previous point will be considered as the origin. So whenever the tool has to move from the current position to the next position, that is from point A to B, whenever the tool has to be measure that has to find the coordinate of that particular point B, then it has to consider that the current position as the origin. And whenever it is considering that point current position at 0, 0 comma 0, it has to measure that coordinate from that 0, 0 to the next point. We are not having a fixed origin like in the case of the absolute coordinate system. In the incremental coordinate system, our origin is floating, or you can say the previous point of the tool where it has performed the operation will become the origin for the next point. Or you can see, or you can define it in the other way also, that the current position of the tool for performing the next operation, for moving to the next point, the current position will become the origin for performing the operation on the next point of operation. So let us say this point is A, you can see the cursor of the mouse, this point is B. So whenever my tool is moving from point A to B, then an operation has been already been performed on point A, then A point will become the origin and B will become the next point of operation. And the coordinates of B will be defined, or the coordinates of point 2 will be defined by assuming that previous point as the 0 or the current point as 0 0, that is it is considered as the origin for the next point of operation. So similarly, whenever you are finding the coordinate of point 3, then you have to assume that previous point as the origin. So we are calculating the coordinate system or the coordinates of that particular point 3 by considering the point 2 as origin, that is the previous point of operation will be considered as the origin. Here the origin is floating and it is not fixed in the case of the incremental motion control system, whereas in the case of the absolute control system, in the motion control system, our origin is always fixed. As you do in the mathematics, your origin is always fixed and you find all the coordinates of that particular position of the tool with respect to the same point, same origin. And whereas in the case of the incremental coordinate system, your previous point or the current position of the tool will become the origin, will become the 0 comma 0 for the performing the operation on the next kind of the position of the tool. So next are the sensors and transducers. Sensor is basically a device whenever it is being exposed to the physical phenomenon like temperature, displacement, force, or the pressure. Then they'll produce a proportional output signal. They will provide you they can provide you electrical signal, mechanical signal, magnetic signal. So that device, which is whenever it is being exposed to any physical phenomena, they will give you a proportional kind of output, that is called a sensor. Whereas the transducer is basically being synced in the form with the sensors, and they are being basically defined whenever you want to have it output in the desired format. Then that transducer is being used to convert that input, whenever you have applied some input to that particular device, and you have installed the transducer in the system also, and the function of the transducer is to convert that output into the desired output. That is, if you want the output in the form of the electrical energy, in the form of the some pressure energy, in the form of the kinetic energy, then that transducer can be used that converts the one form of energy into the another form of energy, and you can get the energy, or you can get the form of energy in the desired format. So this is called the transducer. For example, a thermocouple responds to a temperature change. That is whenever there is a change in temperature, we'll have some change in the thermal energy, that is the heat energy. So, but the output is in the form of the electrical energy that is being provided by the thermocouple. So, we can call thermocouple as a transducer because it is receiving uh, thermal energy from the change in the temperature, but it is providing the electrical energy as an output to the user. So, a thermocouple can also be called as a transducer. So, I'm again explaining that transducer is basically converting the one form of energy into another form of energy, and also it is converting that output form of energy into the desired format. That is, if the user wants that energy in the form of electrical energy, in the form of thermal energy, then that particular transducer can be used to convert that output into the desired form of energy. So they are basically synced with the sensors. So how we'll classify the sensors? We'll study in this chapter, we'll study linear and rotational variable differential transducer, optical encoders, capacitive transducers, Pitot tube. We have read that the tube in the, you have already read the Pitot tube in the your hydraulics and pneumatic subject, that is to find out the pressure rise. The next one will be the strain gauge elements, photoresistors, photodiodes, phototransistors, and the photoconductors. So we'll do these sensors in our next class.